Chapter 1, Introduction to Employment Relations. This chapter defines what is meant by the key terms employment relations, ER, industrial relations, IR, employee relations, and human resource management, HRM. The distinct characteristics of the employment relationship are identified and explained. This chapter outlines the main actors in the employment relationship, including the state and government agencies, employees and trade unions, and employers and employer associations. The chapter discusses how employment relations can be analysed from a number of different theoretical perspectives: unitarianism, pluralism, radicalism, and corporatism, which have their origins in the ideologies underpinning industrial relations, employee relations, and human resource. The employment relationship is multifaceted and continuous. The employment relationship is not simple, it's not straightforward, but it is very complex and involves many dimensions, including economic, such as unemployment, wages, and availability of labour; social, such as values, diversity, and equity; cultural elements, such as teamwork, work-life balance, and the ageing workforce; legal aspects, such as workplace health and safety and current legislation; and also psychological elements, such as emotions and personality. The employment relationship involves mutual responsibilities for both employees and the employer to carry out their duties and responsibilities. It includes tangible, such as pay, maybe company car and conditions of employment, as well as intangible elements, such as more motivational aspects, such as a sense of satisfaction and self-fulfillment. The employment relationship is indeterminate and incomplete, and as the relationship evolves, new terms and conditions of employment are often generated. The relationship also recognises the importance of cooperation and conflict, and is about balancing the power between the employee and the employer. The direct actors in the employment relationship are the employer and the employee, but the employee may be represented by a trade union, and the employer may join an employer association. The state establishes rules and regulations which govern the operation of the employment relationship, and other third parties, such as tribunals and courts, which may be involved in enforcing these rules and regulations. It is important for the employer and the employee to recognise how the relationship operates at the workplace at any given time. Chapter 2, The Changing Nature of Work and Employment. This chapter identifies the environmental drivers of change to work and employment in Australia and globally through factors such as computing power, technology and network growth, diversification of values that lead to consumer and public pressure for change, and economic and political systems, and also labour market changes. The chapter describes the contemporary changes to work and employment and how these affect the organisation of work and employment. For example, post-industrialised development, the new forms of work arrangements shift the focus onto emotional labour and emotional intelligence associated with the emerging service industries, rather than that of the hard or technical skills of manufacturing. Accompanying this shift is a push towards advanced work systems or high-performance work systems in industrialised countries. Many jobs usually regarded as semi-skilled and skilled can be done from anywhere due to advances in computing, networks and technology. There has also been an increase in the number of unskilled or low-skilled jobs, usually done by women employed at home or on piece work rates. These changes have implications for the employment relationship in its traditional or standard form, which also means that the standard contract legalising the employment relationship has also been affected, particularly with an increase in many forms of non-standard employment. This in turn gives rise to different types of employment categories and employment contracts, which requires the differentiation between employees and contractors. Technology has transformed the way that work is conducted. Improvements in hardware computing power and free software quality are driving changes in a range of industries. The reality of supercomputers and cloud computing interfaces allows for increased efficiencies, more superior products, reduced energy costs, and ultimately new industries. The internet has extended regular working hours for employees and managers and has resulted in an increase of working hours and employees experiencing a work-life imbalance, which is also associated with increased stress and health problems. Robotics and manufacturing are becoming increasingly accessible to even small businesses, so they are able to utilize this technology to reduce labor costs and speed up processes. Organizations need to alter recruitment strategies by using Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and microblogging sites such as Twitter to target the younger generations. The advantage is a wider labour pool. However, potential employees and managers need to be aware of how they utilise these communication channels, as the so-called 60 seconds of fame can become permanent on the internet. The implications of Facebook, weblogging, and microblogging need to be considered, as many employers and professions have restrictions on what employees can publicly say about them and the type of images that can be distributed using their employees' uniforms, logos, and work sites. This is a disadvantage for wrongdoing employees and for their organisation.